So I'm just on my way home from work and stopped at Costa for this masterpiece. This is a double chocolate cookie mocha or something. I'm getting kind of bored with Starbucks flavours, so making my way through the Costa menu now. So I actually got Costa for lunch as well at work. I ended up staying in work longer than I expected to, so I went to Costa to get my lunch. But it's okay to go to the same place twice in a day. That's an odd, arbitrary food rule that you would have. I've actually got my dad coming out to stay this weekend, which will be really, really nice. Like, really looking forward to seeing him. And it is so nice to have a visitor without having that panic of like, you need to restrict and compensate in anticipation of this person coming. Like any big event I used to have, like Christmas, a friend coming to stay, a holiday, I'd get that panic before of, oh my God, what food is going to be there? What's the routine going to be like? What are you going to have to eat? And I'd be so scared about gaining weight during the event that I'd have to like restrict and compensate basically in anticipation of the thing happening. And it was really exhausting. It was never just like nice to have a visitor. It was always like, oh, what am I going to eat? Where are we going to go for food? How much food's going to be there? What should I eat in advance? Yawn. It's got loads of, oh, you can't see. It's got loads of chocolate blobs running all through. I think they've put like cookies in it or something. And it'll also be nice for my dad to see me like able to eat well and join in with everyone. Because I know like other people do worry, and not that obviously you do it for someone else, but I know it does mean a lot to them that I can join in with food. And someone actually asked a question related to this on YouTube. So I'm going to India with work in a couple of weeks, and a girl asked how I'm going to cope with it, like the change, the different environment, different people, different food, out of routine. And yes, it is very difficult. Like we can get so kind of like routined with eating disorders, and we like our food like in the right place at the right time, served the right way. And to break that routine is really scary, and you don't want to let it throw you off your recovery. So yeah, it is something I need to think about, definitely. And just like with my dad coming, I don't want to be so anxious about what's the food going to be like there that I end up restricting to deal with it before I go. So personally, like for the India trip, how I cope, I think I don't know what the food's going to be like, so I probably will take some of my own like cereal bars and whatever, some stuff that I know I'll be able to eat. Because I want to obviously join in and like eat food with my colleagues, but sometimes I find I need to eat more frequently than other people. So like say there isn't food out in the office, if I know I've got some snacks that I can take, then that makes me feel a bit more relaxed around that. I can also like stay in touch with my dietitian whilst I'm there, just to check in with her. So, but then to some extent, I think I don't know what it's going to be like there. I don't know what all the food's going to be like. So to some degree, I'm just going to have to deal with it. And like, it might make me feel a bit anxious before I go, but that's okay. Like I can be anxious. I don't need to cope with the anxiety by restricting. I can feel anxious, and that's fine. And I imagine some of my colleagues will probably feel anxious too. Like it is out of routine, it's away from our families, they might have children, it's in a different venue, it's meeting new people. Like, so to some degree, things like Christmas, holiday, a work trip, like big changes in routine, I think they honestly can just be anxiety provoking, and that's okay. Like we can feel anxious about things and be okay. Like anxiety isn't going to last forever, but anorexia will. Or like being in India for me isn't going to last forever, but anorexia will. And I suppose I can also see it as quite a good challenge. Like as much as I do like my routines and they do make me feel like safe and secure and in control, I don't like them really. Like they keep me completely locked into my own little world and not able to really participate in life. Like I just think to myself, I want to be able to live in a changing world. I don't want to have to live in a restricted little bubble that I've created that needs to always stay in place or I feel anxious. Because that doesn't accommodate things like a visit from my dad or a trip to India or anything just outside of this little ring. And as comfy and like nicely controlled as that is, it doesn't really give me a lot of variation in life. This is risky with white trousers. I can't believe peanut butter and chocolate pancakes and a chocolate mocha, and I've not spilt anything down me. I've got half to go, there's time. I think the other thing that can happen with like upcoming events is we restrict in anticipation to like save the calories up. Like say you've got Christmas or a party or a holiday or something and you know there's going to be a lot of food, you think, okay, cut back on my food now so I'll store up my calories and then I can spend them at that event. And I can see the logic behind it, but it's so disordered and it's so not normal, and it's so going to mess up how you think about food and meal times, and just any kind of normality you've got around food is just going to be completely screwed from doing that kind of behaviour. Like, I really think in recovery we need to be giving our body food consistently, regularly, all types of food groups. We basically need to not be restricting anything from our body so that it can start trusting food again, and it doesn't need to crave it, and it can learn how to digest it, and it knows what it tastes like again, and it knows it's not going to be restricted. Like, as long as we're giving our body food and then restricting it again and then giving it and restricting it, or restricting it to store calories up and then giving it a lot at once, it's never going to find its like normal place, and it's never going to trust you. And you'll end up in the cycle of like restricting, and then your body being like, oh my God, where's the food? I want this food. And then it is going to be like, crave, 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 like, please go and eat, which is hell. So you're then putting up with major, major cravings, and then that could lead you to binging. Whereas if you're eating food regularly, your body's like, okay, I know what this is, I got it. I'm not going to make her want it because I know I'll just have another one tomorrow. And it's scary because we then think, oh, but then I'm going to overeat at Christmas or a holiday or whatever the event is, so I need to undereat now. But you don't. Like, to be honest, sometimes in life we can just overeat a little bit, like Christmas, birthdays, holidays, parties. Like, that's living, that's life. Like, those events are there for us to enjoy and be connected with our family and be enjoying good food. And it's not every single day that you're going to be overeating, but if every now and then you happen to overeat, that is not the end of the world, and you're not going to get fat from that. So I think we need to tell ourselves that, like, if you ended up eating a bit more one day, that's fine. To be honest, you're not going to get fat, that is fine. And it's all part of like being in life and being connected with people, and like, it is scary to do it at first, but as long as we're doing this like restricting eating, like, we're never going to have peace from an eating disorder, because your body can't trust you. Your body, mind and soul, like, none of it knows what's going on. None of it knows if it can trust food coming in. None of it knows the taste of food properly. None of it knows what it is to be like regularly nourished and just feel like, okay, I'm safe, this is fine. So we have to like break out of that cycle, or you're just always going to end up trapped in an eating disorder loop. And like with my dad here this weekend, we will probably end up eating out for dinner a lot, drinking a lot. I imagine there'll be a fair bit of wine, but that's okay. Like, I'm seeing my dad, I love my dad, I don't get to see him that often. Like, this is the stuff I'm going to look back on in my life and think, oh, I had such a good time with my dad. Not, oh, did I manage to restrict to make my calories all level out across the weekend and in the couple of days leading up to it? No. And it is really hard to do, and I used to restrict a lot in anticipation of events, but I haven't at all now, obviously. And it is so freeing. Like, I just feel like the biggest weight's been lifted off my mind, that I don't have to plan days in advance of what I'm eating now, what I'll be eating then, how I can miss food, where we're going to be eating, have I checked the restaurant menu online. Oh, it was really exhausting. It was never a natural, fun experience to like see people and have these big events. It was like a massive freaking stress to make sure I had all my food controlled and that my weight wouldn't go up. Oh, it's just exhausting. It keeps us so isolated and on our own, and so trapped in our own head with our eating disorder, when there's a whole world out there. Like, they're getting on with it, they're going out for dinner and having fun. We're the only ones that are lost in our own little worlds of, how many calories have I had, what's my weight going to be, can I control everything for when this person's here at the weekend. And I'm genuinely looking forward to it now. I'm not thinking, oh, it'll be fine as long as XYZ is in place. Like, irrelevant, it doesn't matter to me. Regardless of what my food is doing, I'm looking forward to it. So this is nice, it's very chocolatey, and I still think my favourite is the Starbucks mocha, the original. This one's almost a little bit too fancy. They've tried to be too big time. Right, I better head home and get back to work, but I hope everyone's having a nice day and you're all like being in the world and just coping with the world as it is, without having to have insane tight controls for us to feel okay, as long as we're in our own little anorexia bubble, because it's just really sad. Like, we don't get to experience the whole world that way and like be with other people and enjoy eating and drinking and having fun. So I'm just about to have a snack. I've got some sort of Snickers cake. I can't quite remember what it's called, but it looks phenomenal. Literally, look at that beauty. I picked it up yesterday with my dad. We were at a cafe and the cakes were just... Oh. So I'm going to have it as a snack now. Oh, Beyonce's interested. You like Snickers? No. Beyonce, stop showing your bum. She's just trying to stroke herself on the fork.
Oh my god, that's so good.
It literally does taste like a Snickers bar.
Yum.
Oh, look who else we've got. Hello, Stevie. I like it. I honestly feel like sponge gets in the way of a cake. Just give me the buttercream. What's that? What is it, Stevie? How cute is that little haircut? Got some Mars bar, a Snickers bar. No. Look who's back. Hi, Stevie. Go, Stevie, go. So my dad left yesterday and we did... She's gonna chase her tail. We did have a really, really nice time together. There was lots of eating out, drinking out, and just being very free, which was really lovely. And like, I didn't restrict to allow it or compensate for it or anything. But I feel like now I've kind of got that like post-event guilt kind of feeling of like, I don't know, just I feel like my head's going a bit nuts. Like all these thoughts about like, you've had too much, you've overeaten, you've gone way over your plan, you're going to gain loads of weight, you've gotten really fat, you should have restricted, you should have compensated. Like I was still making sure I was fitting in like all my snacks, having my breakfast, still eating out, drinking out. I'm so glad I did it, and I'm so glad I was like with everybody and joining in. And I just woke up this morning with my head like, it's just driving me a bit crazy today. And like one of the big things that I find hard is drinking, because I kind of just see it as like unnecessary calories, you don't need to have it. And then because it's extra calories, I think, oh, you should miss out some food to allow for this alcohol, which I know isn't a normal thing. And I know, it'll, oh my goodness, look at the cat. And I know it will lead to, Stevie, sorry. Stevie, it's not very ladylike. Stevie, no. Not very ladylike, darling. I know it will like lead to a disordered lifestyle if I've got that attitude, and like I want to be able to drink as part of life. Like, Stevie, stop it. I know, sweetie, but like my family, like my family and friends really enjoy like wine, having a drink, having a good time. Let me just move the camera. Look at that leg. So I'm trying to tell myself like alcohol is something I want to be able to like partake in and drink and enjoy with everybody else and not compensate for it and just do it in a normal way, but it's just hard. And I was like so positive before my dad got here and so excited to like be free and be able to join in and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of forget that like sometimes after that, then I get slammed with this like, and now you have to feel guilty for it. But I just know if I give in to my thoughts, then they'll just stay my thoughts. Like there's that expression that I absolutely love. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And it just really rings true for me with anorexia, because if you don't break the cycle, you stay in the cycle, and then I'll always have to drink, feel guilty, compensate for the rest of my life. That was hard, to be honest. Having that cake, I was like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? But yeah, I just know if I don't change it now, I will just stay in the cycle. And I'll always have to restrict after a nice weekend with family and friends. And like, I can't be bothered, if I'm honest. Like, I just can't be bothered to do that for the rest of my life. Even though it's really tempting now and it feels like the right thing to do. Oh, look at her. Hello, little Stevie. How cool are the boots? Love your boots, darling. I've actually just remembered something really funny that happened with my dad at the weekend. I was telling him about this vlog because I've not actually told my family and friends about this yet because I just felt a bit weird about it. But I told my dad and I was like, get your iPad out and you can look it up on YouTube. So I told him, ANOREXIA RECOVERY, search. And he's scrolling through and he's like, I'm not sure I've spelt it right, Meg. He goes, all I can see is guinea pigs with ear infections. I was like, yeah, I think you've made a spelling mistake, Dad. It's like a little gymnast, look. So I'm gonna go and try and distract myself now. I wanted to record that to like keep the balanced perspective really and like just show that it isn't easy. And it keeps surprising me because even when I think I'm doing really well and like I was fine in the run up to my dad arriving, there's still little gems around the corner where it pounces again and then I'm like, oh, slammed with guilt or crazy thoughts or my head starts screaming. Tolerate, feel bad, opposite actions, wait for it to pass. I just long for the day when I can spend the weekend with family and friends, enjoy ourselves, eat a bit more than you normally would. I'll be over a plan. Hopefully I won't even have a plan, but you know, you might be over what you'd regularly eat, but like, it's just life, it's just living. So anyway, I know it is getting easier, like it wasn't hard in the run up at least, like I didn't feel the need to restrict before it. I'm just now having to tolerate a bit of guilt after it. But I hope people have all had a nice weekend and that you are getting to be like out there in the world, even though it's scary, and just if we always do what we've always done, so if we keep restricting and compensating, then we'll always have to do that and we'll always get what we've always got. We'll always be disordered and we'll never be part of the world and able to enjoy these things with people. So that's what I'm holding on to right now. And yeah, I just hope you guys have had a really nice weekend and leave me comments below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you soon.